Israel and Hezbollah attack each other. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says a deal between Israel and Hamas would lower the temperature in the region.
We still believe a diplomatic resolution is the way forward here. We still believe that it is possible, and obviously the urgency continue to be that.
But she's not confirming any new ceasefire proposal or any plan for President Biden to meet with Israel's prime minister during the UN General Assembly in New York. The leader of Hezbollah says Israel crossed a red line after sabotaged pagers and phones used by militants exploded this week in Lebanon, killing more than 30 people, wounding thousands. Former President Trump will be part of an event on fighting anti-Semitism later today, then speak to the Israeli-American Council's National Summit in Washington. President Biden says the Fed's decision to start lowering interest rates is a declaration of progress in the inflation fight.
It's a moment for individuals to feel greater confidence buying a home, a new car, starting a family, starting a new business.
Speaking to the Economic Club of Washington, the president also criticizing his predecessor's economic record, while voters continue to favor Trump on the economy by 5 points in a new Fox News poll. A day after the Fed rate cut, new highs on Wall Street. The Dow up 522 points at the bell, topping 42,000 for the first time today and closing above it. A 76-year-old man in Alaska is accused of threatening the U.S. Supreme Court.
More than 450 messages allegedly sent via an online portal to 6 unnamed Supreme Court justices using homophobic language, racist language, and other threatening language.
Fox's David Spunt, the suspect, is charged with multiple threat counts and could spend the rest of his life in prison if convicted. America is listening to Fox News.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
An online safety bill aimed at better protecting children gets one step closer to final passage in Congress.
The Kids Online Safety Act would establish new guidelines for social media companies when it comes to minors using their platforms. KOSA already passed the Senate, and a House version cleared the Energy and Commerce Committee this week.
It's a major positive step.
Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal authored the bipartisan Senate bill, saying it's essential to protect minors online. But critics like the Electric Frontier Foundation call it a censorship bill that gives the government the power to, quote, target services and content it finds objectionable. The bill now needs to pass the full House. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Scientists still searching for the origins of COVID-19 are zeroing in on a short list of animals that may have helped spread it to people, including raccoon dogs and bamboo rats. They're analyzing genetic material gathered from the Chinese market where the first outbreak was detected. Newly published research that bolsters the case. It emerged from animals, but doesn't resolve the debate over the lab leak theory. JetBlue unveils its first airport lounges.
The New York-based carrier will be opening its first airport lounges, starting with an 8,000 square foot space in New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport in 2025, followed by an 11,000 square foot space in Boston's Logan International Airport. The lounges are part of the airline's Jet Forward plan to increase premium perks and will be reserved primarily for holders of a new premium JetBlue credit card, TrueBlue Mosaic members, or Transatlantic Mint members. However, all customers can buy annual lounge passes and day passes with guest passes based on availability.
Fox's Hillary Barsky recapping the record day on Wall Street. The Dow up 522 to 42,025. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Central Illinois, Champaign, and vicinity, and a little more action on the weather maps and charts over the back end of the weekend, early next week with regard to rainfall prospect on the 90-degree mark. Light east to southeasterly wind becoming southerly. Fair 63 for tonight. Tomorrow, very warm, more humid, becoming partly sunny and isolated late morning and afternoon shower thunderstorm. The high back up close to 90. 60s tomorrow night, partly sunny, warm 88 Saturday. Daytime hours, Sunday dry, partly sunny and 86. Then showers and thunderstorms in here for Sunday night and Monday. High temperatures Monday around 80, back in the 70s next Tuesday and Wednesday. For CVJ Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
Hey, what's up? It's The Drive with Dan Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Tosk. The gang is all here. One day closer, one day away from Illinois against Nebraska. Number 24 against number 22 in Lincoln on Fox. You said it before the show, Lon. It's too bad it's not tonight. It's too bad.
You and I were both outside getting ready to walk in, and I'm like, man, I wish this game was tonight. I really do.
Yep.
I am so... Are you hearing me?
I can't really hear you, no. Mm-mm.
It's not my issue.
Check, mic check.
Nope.
Interesting. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. I guess because you were gone last Thursday, we just pre-programmed.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
That mic's just not going to work on Thursday, so I don't know. We'll figure this out as we go. What I do know, and we will catch a quick break anyway, that was already programmed into the show.
That sounds like it's working.
Yeah, no.
Okay, go ahead.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7, joining us to break down Dylan Raiola, Matt Rule's second season there in Lincoln, and what that will look like for him. And obviously the real meat of that is what challenges will Nebraska present to the Illini on Friday night, and what are some weak spots or some unproven parts of Nebraska that Illinois could potentially exploit. I want to ask him, how good, as far as what he knows and what they're expecting in Nebraska, how good's their run game? Because that's something that could be a weak spot for Illinois. Obviously, being able to stop a rushing attack, and I think that goes hand in hand with how much they're going to ask out of Dylan Raiola in this game on Friday night. And then, of course, Nebraska's been really good in pressuring the passer. Kyle had the stat yesterday, I think 54 pressures through the first three games. Now you are facing a couple of cupcakes of really bad offensive line for Colorado. So hopefully Illinois is better equipped to handle that, but we do know that the interior of Illinois' offensive line has been questionable at best to this point. So a lot to find out still about both teams, but we'll do our best to get the gauge on Nebraska, talking with Brian here in about 5 minutes.
Doesn't it feel like, I just clipped you, I think. Doesn't it feel like you're playing against Iowa with their defense? I almost feel like this is a game against Iowa. However, on the other side, they seem to have a quarterback that is skilled enough to hurt you, whereas Iowa in the past usually didn't have a quarterback that you were terrified of. Now, I still need to learn more about this freshman, but certainly so far, to date, he has answered every question that anyone would have with regards to being able to throw the intermediate pass, being able to run the offense, being able to even throw a deep pass on occasions. He's got a really good arm. So we'll see if Illinois can put him in positions to where he has to throw maybe third and long, but that means you got to stop the run, right? And that would be a fear. But I was thinking about that today, how it feels like to me you're going in to play an Iowa team because of their defense. And you just know going into the Hawkeyes that you're not going to be able to do a lot of damage against their defense, but yet you're going to have to, because I think Nebraska's going to score. So, and I think this Illinois offense is good enough that I don't think anybody's just going to necessarily shut it down. So, I don't know. I had that thought today, and it's kind of a weird thought, but I'm like, yeah, it kind of feels like an Iowa game, but it's not, and it will be awesome to face this Nebraska. I'm ready. I'm ready for this thing to happen, like now.
yeah, and knowing that fan base over there and how excited they are, I can only imagine the way that they're. That's another thing I want to ask Brian is how far have the Huskers fans allowed themselves to go in terms of what they think this season can be and where they are on the Matt Rule rebuild? Because Rule did a good job in year one, and they obviously had a good defense and were competitive in a lot of games, although that was Scott Frost, the competitive side, and then finding ways to lose in every way imaginable. But just are they thinking, hey, this can be an 8, 9, 10 win season, or are they still kind of treading lightly as far as that goes? So it's a big game for both sides. Kyle and I discussed yesterday. I mean, win this one, win Purdue, you at least have 5 wins going in, like 5-1 going into that Michigan game, and Michigan has looked very shoddy on offense so far. So that's where we can dream this and kind of say hypotheticals all we want. It is almost like don't let me stew on this anymore. Just let me watch the game and know what the reality is going forward, right?
I know we got to get off soon here to get Brian on, but I can promise you Nebraska fans have their team at 7-0. I can almost guarantee. I mean, Derek, think about how optimistic we are just jumping out to a 2-0 start or a 3-0 now start for Illinois, and then we all of a sudden, me at least, I started talking about, you're going to be in a bowl game. Now it's how good of a bowl game you're going to be in. That's how optimistic I jumped to as a fan with really not much success in my past. Now, Nebraska, if you're a guy my age, Nebraska fan, you've seen national championships, and obviously you are down on your program, but I can almost promise you that this Nebraska fan base is looking at Illinois as a win and then looking ahead at the schedule, like you mentioned yesterday, and saying, guys, we could be 7-0 going into that big game. And I guarantee you that's what they're thinking right now. And I know from even reading a couple of articles, the win over Colorado, even though Colorado is what it is, that's always been a nice rivalry, obviously, between Nebraska and Colorado back in the Big 12 days. So for them to beat Colorado, according to the gentleman that was writing the article for Nebraska, he said it just put a lot of energy back in Nebraska Cornhuskers, the fan base. And, of course, that's not good news for Illinois if you're going in to face a sold-out crowd tomorrow night.
Yeah, they have a lot of reasons to be excited. And to your point, I mean, Matt Rule is proven at the college level, did not do well in Carolina, but that just looks like it might be a place where a lot of hopes go to die.
Right.
Carolina Panthers franchise right now. But Rule is what he's doing. You get a 5-star quarterback. Those don't come around very often. And then, yeah, I mean, they just look the part in the trenches now,
right?
Which is something that's obviously very important, especially that's kind of what I would have expected year in and year out from Nebraska. It hasn't been that case until here recently. And I kind of compare it expectations-wise. Now, Illinois, I'll give you this. I'll say what it is first. I think it's Illinois basketball, similarly kind of through the Gross era and into Underwood, where you went on that long streak and no tournaments. And you had the history to back it up, like of expecting a high bar of what this should be. Now, Illinois basketball's never won a national title. That is one of the differences. Right. But I do think if you caught Illinois basketball fans after Gross into the start of Underwood, and you have that excitement, kind of like the Io being Raiola, and not to like go too far down the road with this
where
thing.
you're going here, though.
I think that's where like fans want to believe that it's finally the turn of the corner and who we're supposed to be type of thing. But there might still be a tad bit of hesitation, like, man, is this too good to be true?
Yeah, now that you say it like that, it's almost like you got to prove it to me.
A little bit.
You got to prove it a little bit more to me before I jump all in on this thing. Yep. And I think a win over Illinois, which is nationally ranked, so that would be a nice win for Nebraska, obviously, against a ranked team. So I think this one would maybe put them over the top of, okay, now we do know that this team is for real. And if this 5-star quarterback does his thing, Raiola, then I think they're going to be even more giddy, thinking, all right, we've not only arrived as a whole complete team because of our defense, et cetera, but now we've got a quarterback that can lead us kind of like Adrian Martinez did when he was younger there at Nebraska.
Well, let's see what Brian Christopherson has to say from Husker 24/7. He joins us next. Stick around for that. It is The Drive.
If you're an Ameren customer, time is running out to get a solar system installed and grandfathered into the current net metering program before 2025.
Route 66 Solar is ensuring that all systems will be installed, inspected, and turned on prior to the December deadline.
Don't miss out on your opportunity to lock in significant savings with net metering for the life of your system.
Call Route 66 Solar to secure one of our limited installation openings remaining for 2024.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. You know, without batteries, life would be pretty lifeless. That's why Interstate All Battery Centers carry them in every size, shape, and style so you can drive, drill, call, film, or do whatever it is you want to do. Stop in today. They've got the power to keep you going. Interstate All Battery Center. Outrageously dependable.
Interstate All Battery Center. You'll find them outrageously dependable just over Interstate 74 at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign, with batteries for most every application in stock.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
Your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars. Here's my price. And you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Brian, how you doing, man? One day away from a big game.
Yeah, two ranked teams, just like everyone would have drawn it up before the season.
Right, no doubt. I want to start with this. We were going on this subject right before the break, before we get into the matchup and all that entails for tomorrow night's battle. But where would you say that Nebraska fans are at right now in terms of fully buying in and believing in this being the breakthrough season for them? We kind of compared it a little bit to Illinois basketball. They go through some of those rough years with Gross and into Underwood. It's crazy to think it's been since 2016 that the Huskers have been in a bowl game. Where would you say that temperature is right now before what everyone's expecting to be just a very raucous and bumping environment tomorrow night in Lincoln?
Yeah, it's full-scale belief, I would say, at this point. They're going to be bowl eligible and end that drought, which you mentioned, that dates back to 2016 without a bowl appearance, which is, borderline ridiculous. I think everyone is kind of expecting that, but now people are starting to get even a little beyond that, where it's like, is this like a 8 or 9 win team? Like, how far does it stretch, sort of thing? And Friday night, sort of a key game in that kind of, I think, where do you put the temperature at exactly as far as that discussion and just getting bowl eligible. So right now there are a lot of good vibes. This town, when the Huskers are playing well, is pretty special as far as just the juice around football. And it's definitely got that sort of feeling the last couple of weeks. A big part of it was, of course, the Colorado game and all that went with that, and that's a rivalry that goes way back. And then Deion Sanders and, Shedeur Sanders bring their own flavor to it that people were, they were just fired up. So I think after that game, it's boiling a little bit here, and it'll be a tough atmosphere tomorrow. There's no question about it.
Brian, what would you say early on in his second year for Matt Rule, having Nebraska ranked as they are right now? What would you say is the biggest thing he's done to put them in this position early in his tenure to be a ranked team and to be one that has a decent amount of promise for the rest of this season?
Yeah, I mean, whenever there's conversations about like a program's culture, like in March, I'm one of those who kind of rolls their eyes, not because it's not important, but because everybody thinks they are building it or are doing well at building it, so you never really know what to make of it. But honestly, you do have to point that direction right now and think that that's working for Nebraska. And the reason I say that is in this transfer portal era, Nebraska actually had very few departures this offseason. They had a lot of guys choose to come back, some key guys like Ty Robinson and Isaac Gifford and John Bullock on the defense for one more year. And, they've been a team that's sort of developed guys, which we haven't seen a lot around here, like Bryce Benhart's the big right tackle. And for like 3 or 4 years, it kind of felt like we'd seen his ceiling. And then you saw the staff get a little bit more out of him than we had seen. So all that stuff kind of attached together makes you think, the culture aspects in good shape and the developing part. And they've done it in the trenches mostly. I mean, the strength of this football team is the defensive line. Now you're only as good as your next performance, so we'll see what they do tomorrow night. But, I mean, against, like, Colorado, you saw that. I mean, that was just one of those games where they just owned it up front and, basically chased Shedeur Sanders out of the game. So I think that part is where people are believing. It's like, okay, I feel like they have got something going with the big boys on the O-line and the D-line. And when you think you've got that sort of working, that's where optimism really starts to take off.
Brian Christopherson, Brian Lonte, I feel like we're burying the lead. I only asked this because we actually have an Illini assistant women's coach who is a niece of Reba McEntire. You're not related to Chris, are you? Come on, tell me you are.
No, I get that a lot. I don't mind it. Different spelling, actually. He goes with the K, and I have, like, the Christopher son. I do get that everywhere I go, but I just say I don't like this. It's 14 letters long. So if I'm like at Walgreens or CVS, I'm just like, it's Christopher with an SON at the end, and that's how we figure it out usually. But it does take some trying with people sometimes.
I bet. Yeah, I would assume you could have a lifelong of trying to explain that if you really wanted to. So you're handling that well. That's well done. But I had to ask. I just had to ask. So you brought up there the defensive line, and that is literally one of the biggest concerns for us as Illinois fans going into this game. And I guess the weird part is that we thought the Illinois rushing attack was going to be a strength, and through 3 games it really hasn't shown that it is. Is this something that are you just truly firm believer that this defensive line is good enough to basically shut down any kind of a rushing attack, or do you think there's any kind of a hole that Illinois could exploit on that line?
Oh, I think you always have to